Good morning, Springfield and Axe Media viewing audience. How's everybody doing? This is Tony Hammock live from Springfield, Missouri here at Plaza Towers. And it is a glorious morning out there. It's one of my favorite times of year when you've got that little chill or crisp feeling in the air. And I know I looked at the forecast today. It's supposed to be sunny with blue skies. Now tomorrow's a little different, so it'll change pretty quick. That's kind of the way it is here in Southwest Missouri. If you don't like it, wait 15 minutes or a day, and it'll definitely change on you. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, we had a guest. The gentleman's name is Tony Hubbard, and Tony had forgot when he had agreed to be on the show that he was going to be in an airport. And so we got a chance to listen to the gate agent make all of her announcements for a few minutes there. And I think we had a fairly good, talk and everything. But I just, with that in mind and stuff, I was thinking about it over the weekend, and I reached out to Tony earlier this week, and he has agreed to join us again. Tony, you still there?
I'm on the line.
Okay. So a little background on Mr. Hubbard here. He lives down in Texas. I met him a couple months ago through 7K Metals. For those of you that have been viewing for a while, you know that I liked gold and silver, just to name a few of the alternative assets out there and stuff. And 7K Metals specializes in those two metals. And Tony has done quite well, has a lot of things that he brings to the table, motivational talks, experience, and I was thrilled to get him back on here. And Tony, I know a couple weeks ago you were traveling to Idaho. How'd that trip turn out for you?
Idaho turned out to be amazing. We were actually there for 4 days, Wednesday through Saturday. We did about 5 different seminars during that time frame, and along with several one-on-one coaching. And so, yeah, it was an amazing that we had, and grew our 7K family exponentially. So it was definitely an amazing trip.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad you got home safe and all that kind of stuff. I got to tell you, don't you live in Houston?
Oh, absolutely.
Seems like every day Houston's in the news. Of course, last night Houston didn't complete the game successfully in the first game of the World Series, but that's a whole other story, huh?
Absolutely.
I can't believe that Washington team, they swept our Cardinals up here 4 games straight, so this might be their year. I don't know. But anyway, I really, one of the things that I was drawn to Tony Hubbard for was because early on in our relationship, he started talking about fundraising. And for those of you that are viewing today or have viewed before, you know that our telethon, the Axe Media Group telethon, will be next Monday the 28th and Tuesday the 29th, and that's all about fundraising. I know that Jim Whining, the president of Axe, is trying to raise $25,000, I believe it is. And at last count, I haven't checked this morning, but I want to say at last count, they'd already raised something like $2,200 or $2,300 and stuff. So a little bit of a quick start there, but they've definitely got their work cut out for them next Monday and Tuesday. And this is one of Tony's specialties. So, Tony, without, turning the whole thing over to you, I guess I'm just kind of curious, how do you use 7K Metals, or how do you do fundraising for different ministries around the country?
Oh, absolutely. Appreciate that, Tony. How we utilize 7K Metals as far as fundraising is that, I'm talking to a lot of churches and pastors, and like right now we probably have about in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 that have already come on board with us over the last couple of years. And I sit down with them and I said, we've preached for years how that the wealth of the sinner is laid up in store for the just, and how that a good man will lay up an inheritance for his children's children. Well, I share it's one thing to preach it, it's another thing to put a vehicle in place to make it happen. And that's all 7K Metals is a vehicle that we've been able to utilize from a constant fundraising perspective, especially because of the product being physical gold and silver. And I share with pastors how we've done the research, and if you look at the King James Version of the Bible, gold is mentioned 417 times, silver 320. Money is only mentioned 140 times, but in each case, Greek and Hebrew, it's talking about physical gold and silver. So it's God's money. And I shared with him how that, Habakkuk 2:8 didn't say that the paper is mine. It said the gold is mine, the silver is mine. And so we approach pastors and nonprofits from the perspective that, okay, um, this is a vehicle that, if it's applied correctly, it can definitely be a blessing for many different reasons as far as your ministry. Everyone can participate by either A, becoming a customer so they can purchase gold and silver every single month. And the points that are accumulated by that will be a blessing to the ministry. And if they have an entrepreneur bone in their body, we're going to teach them how to build a business where they can generate commissions anywhere from 500 up to 12,500 on a weekly basis. And those funds will also flow back into the ministry. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, how we've been able to approach pastors. And, so far it's been received, wholeheartedly for a lot of ministries.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second, because you use the term commissions, and to you and I, that we've both been in sales for a long time, and that's just one of those words we're okay with and stuff. But to a lot of people, the word commissions has some other implications and stuff. Is there a different way we can spin that? I mean, in other words, if this is working for you and your family, and you decide to share it, there's some benefits that come along with that sharing of the idea and the concept, aren't there?
Sure. And another way we say it is that you can create funds, back into that ministry every single month to be used for whatever God lays on a pastor's heart or whoever's over a nonprofit. So
okay.
That's income that's coming for work that's been done. So,
well, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, when I let you go, like the other show we did a couple weeks ago, and then later on today, I've got a little bit of the show that is in the last half hour that is on stewardship. I've found this program or this app for my phone that has several different stewardship programs, and I know I'm getting a lot out of it. I hope some of our viewers are too, but I know that it seems like one of the messages that's coming through from the devotionals is that it's okay to make money. Money's not evil. Money's not bad. And I guess I'm just kind of curious. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I agree. One of my favorite legendary preachers was a gentleman I used to hear on the radio for years called Lester Roloff. And he was the first one that coined the phrase that I can remember, that money is a good servant but a bad master. And so,
I like that.
And so, and like I said, there's many scriptures in the Bible that let you know, money answered all things. And so it's so important, how you use it and for what, because oftentimes you hear the scripture misquoted that, money is the root of all evil, when in actuality it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. And you can be guilty of that, whether you're a millionaire or whether you're a pauper. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it makes a difference on how you look at it and how it's applied. And and I always looked at it from a perspective that I always wanted to be my desire, and as a minister, and I've been in evangelist now for 34 years. My desire as a minister is always to be a blessing. I love being a blessing because I agree with the scripture. There is more blessed to give than to receive. And in order to do that, from many standpoints, you need to have capital, you need to have money in order to do that. So that's one of the reasons why I love being an entrepreneur, because it allows me to generate those kind of funds for my family, to be a blessing not only to my family, but to ministries and to individuals as a whole.
Well, let's hold up the turnip truck there just for a quick second there, Tony. You went over something really quick there, and I caught it. But did you say you've had a ministry for 34 years?
Yes, I've been an evangelist for 34 years.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service. That is pretty neat. You went by that so fast. I don't know if most people caught that. But, 34 years, that's a long time.
Yes, sir. I thank God for the calling. Something I never envisioned myself doing, and I was blessed to be called. I was 19 years old when I first went into the ministry. And I was blessed to, minister in different avenues from, from in street ministering to tents, to prison ministry, and then of course in churches all throughout America and then even outside of the country. So, it's a calling I definitely don't take lightly, and I thank God for it. And it's allowed me to be a blessing even in business because, just living a life that God would be pleased with has opened up a lot of doors.
Oh, I bet it has, yeah. But no, thanks again. That's a great testimony to your service throughout those 34 years and stuff. Let's do this real quick because, I know that our time is fast escaping here, and I got a couple things I definitely want to spend some time on. One is, let's get back to the fundraising. There's a couple of parts to that. One part is the the ministry, the church, and then the other part is the members of the church in this example, and then of course what the church ends up or the ministry ends up doing with the funds that have been raised, and then in this case, since we're kind of referring to 7K Metals as being the tool, if you will, that can allow the fundraising to happen. What happens with the side effects, I guess you'd call it, or the benefits, maybe that's a better term, of the 7K Metals. And I guess that's 4 different little categories, but can we go through this real quick as far as let's start with the ministry or the church. What is the main benefit of having a program in place like this?
Okay, one of the main benefits is that it's a constant fundraiser that in many cases is already generating funds anywhere from $500 to a few $1,000s on a monthly basis back into ministries by basically building an organization through 7K Metals. And so the benefit for the ministry, we typically list 6 main benefits that we target from ministries. It could be a bus ministry, it could be a youth ministry, it could be an additional stream for retirement for a pastor because, we run into so many small to medium-sized churches. And when I say small, less than 100, medium-sized, a few hundred, that the ministers are doing all they can. But many of those programs or many of those churches don't have don't have any type of retirement in place for that pastor. So another way that is used, it's a way for the members of the church to help build an organization where the funds can be generated to be some type of retirement for that pastor. So from the church perspective, there's several different ways we can utilize it, but the main thing is to generate funds on a monthly basis to be used for whatever God lays upon that pastor's heart.
Okay, and then for the members of the congregation, what's the main benefit or benefits that are there for them?
Sure. Well, one of the things I love about it, and the reason why I'm so passionate about 7K Metals, because I've been in the networking industry for 15 years, and I've been blessed to earn a 6-figure income for multiple years. And that being said, in the networking industry, which has generated last year over $200 billion in revenue worldwide, there are a lot of great companies out there. And I oftentimes say they all make money. They don't all necessarily make sense, because all of them are not a win-win-win scenario.
Okay.
Here's what I mean by that. There are some companies that have great products, but they have an expiration date, and if you are collecting that product after, 6 months, a year, it doesn't have any use. And so one of the things I love about the product with 7K Metals and the company as a whole is that it creates a rare win-win-win scenario. Here's what I mean. Let's just say a person just want to be a customer and get a membership so they can buy gold and silver, at the best price every single month. At the end of a year, at the end of 2 years, they have several $1,000s worth of assets that will always have value. So they definitely want. And let's just say they have an entrepreneur bone in their body, and we teach them how to build a business, and they're not very successful, but they generate $500 or a couple $1,000s over the course of a year. But if they're buying the collectible coins every single month, many of those are tax deductible. So from a tax deductible standpoint, not only do they have a couple $1,000s worth of assets, they have many write-offs that, we tell them to get with their tax professional. And so they really won. And then for those individuals like myself, and we have hundreds of individuals part of our group, not only have we been able to generate a full-time income, and many of them on a part-time basis, but we're also stacking gold and silver every single month. So there's no way a person can lose, and that's one reason why I'm so passionate about, the company 7K Metals.
Okay, so just in my mind, as simple as it is, I guess, I'm thinking, let me try and articulate this and see if I'm on the right track. So what you're suggesting as a fundraising mechanism or strategy for a ministry is to become a member or distributor of 7K Metals.
That's correct.
And then extend that opportunity to their membership or their congregation that they can get on the coin of the month program, and that essentially any of the profits, cash flow, that isn't actually paying for just the coin itself is something that goes to the ministry as a donation in a way.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is,
and
you explained it correctly.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure, because, where I'm going with this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you do this, your congregation has now made, a pledge, and then they've made a donation, and in most cases when that happens, or they've tithed, most cases when that happens, those dollars have left their coffers, their checking account or savings account or whatever, has gone to the ministry, which is fine because we want to give to God what's God's and so forth. But in this example, that person in the congregation would still have an ounce of silver per month.
That's correct.
Per month,
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay. So the ministry benefits because they're getting a constant flow of donations. The congregation benefits because they're able to create that constant flow of donations and end up with an ounce of silver per month that they're just doing the one coin per month program. I know 7K's got 3 different auto ship programs they've got. You want to go over those real quick?
Sure. They have, 3 varieties. Again, and one of the things I love about 7K Metals, it allows individuals to get in where they fit in. And so you have 3 different options. One, we have a Silver Eagle, which is the most popular 1-ounce silver coin in the entire world. And they can get a collectible Silver Eagle graded at the highest grading, which is an MS70 every single month. And that's for $100. And then for those that want a coin, a 1-ounce silver coin that's even rarer than a Silver Eagle, right now we're doing a Marvel series. So every single month it varies. We have a variety for like $25 more. You can get a variety coin from Spider-Man coin, Darth Vader. I mean, the whole 9 yards. They even had the Black Panther coin.
Cool.
Last year, and and that coin we paid $125 for. We already seen it sold online for as much as $350 because it's a lower mintage.
Yeah.
And then for those that have an affinity for gold, they can also get a gold option for $299 a month, a gold collectible coin. And again, it varies from month to month as well. So there's 3 different varieties. And again, I always tell people, get in where they fit in. So
yeah. And I had something really neat happen yesterday. I want to share it with you and the audience, and then I'm going to let you kind of share your thoughts on this. But I know that the first few coins that I've gotten from 7K, they come with this 7K getaway card in there. And at first I was like, what is this? I mean, I heard about it, when I was kind of looking at this and doing my due diligence and stuff. And, and let me make this really clear. I mean, I traveled for 30 years. I mean, I was traveling from January of '87 through, 2012. I mean, weekly, every week, leave on Monday morning, go someplace, come back Friday night or Saturday, that type of thing. So, I mean, when it comes to travel, I've been there, done that, and have been around the world, all these kinds of things and stuff. So I was like, eh. But yesterday I got to looking at it, and this weekend coming up, my wife and I and our youngest son are going to be going down to Tulsa to visit our second youngest son, who's a freshman at the University of Tulsa. It's parents' weekend or homecoming or a combination of both. And, you know, so my wife's been asking me to make sure we've got a room for Saturday night. And so I finally got, I finally got tired of her asking me to do that. So it was on my honey-do list. And so yesterday I went right to the Marriott website. I mean, all those years I traveled, I kind of focused on that chain. I mean, there's a few other chains that filtered in there. But because of that, I am a, what am I? I am a platinum lifetime member.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat because, you know, when you get a few perks when you show up. I mean, sometimes you get to go to the concierge level, and sometimes you get, you know, an upgrade and those kinds of little things and stuff. But anyway, so I'm checking the Marriott site, and I'm looking at the different properties there in Tulsa and stuff, and then something in my memory kicked in, and I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I take a look at one of these 7K getaway cards I got and see just if there really is a benefit there, you know, because I was a little bit skeptical. And so I had my laptop next to my desktop, and I had the Marriott browser or in one browser, and on the other one I got the 7K getaway browser. And without me rambling it too much longer, really what ended up happening was even with my AAA discount and my platinum lifetime thing, I saved $43 by booking the room through 7K Getaway.
That's powerful there, man. That's a testimony.
Now think about that for a second. I mean, you know, you would think a guy that's got that much time spent in those properties over the years, the last 30-some years, that I'd be getting the best price out there, and also with the AAA discount. And we ended up getting a room at one of their properties down there. I think it was $109 a night through 7K, and it was $150-something, you know, through my normal channels with the AAA discount and stuff. And, you know, that's just one night, and it's just $43. But, you know, I mean, our family, $43 is $43. I mean, that's a meal out. That's a tank of gas, you know. Now, okay, so here's the other thing. I just want to make sure I'm on the right track here, okay? That's why I wanted you on this program, because not only I wanted to talk about the fundraising, but I just want to make sure I haven't, you know, had the wrong epiphany or whatever, you know. So I got to thinking about it, and you know, if I spend $100 and I get a one of these MS-70 silver coins each month, and in that same delivery, I'm getting a 7K Getaway travel card that has $125 of value. As long as I use that card for travel, aren't I kind of getting silver for free?
Oh, absolutely. And you bring out a valid point, because last year, you know, of course, I bought, you know, 12 coins throughout the course of the year minimum, and I actually, you know, buy more than one a month. And but I saved last year. I calculated my savings, and you know, because I'm traveling at least a couple of times a month, and I saved over $1,300
For the year?
You know, so for the year,
Wow.
last year alone. So
now these
over 1,300.
Yeah. Well, now these 7K Getaway cards, you can use them for hotels and motels. You can use them for rental cars. You can use them for weeks. And I kind of poked around on the website yesterday. Weeks would be like a week at Disneyland, or I should say a week in Orlando.
Right.
I don't know if I got far enough into the properties that were listed, if there's actually any on, you know, Disneyland's property, but there were some, you know, right there on the border. And then there were activities. And I kind of looked around in the activities there, and there was just a whole bunch of activities throughout the world. I mean, it's not just the United States. I mean, there were things in Thailand. There were things in Europe. I mean, it was just amazing to me. And you know, and like I said, I got excited about it. I told my wife last night. She's always a little bit more skeptical than I am and stuff, so I haven't, had a chance to really take her to the website just yet. But I guess I was just wanting to make sure if I'm kind of making the right now. I guess the key thing here, the big key thing, is if you travel, you're going to use these 7K getaway cards, and this will all make sense. But if you're a homebody and you don't travel, what can you do with the 7K getaway cards then?
Okay, good question. One, also, you can use, like you said, on rental cars, for people that may not travel, but, you might not, need a rental car for a weekend, whatever. I've saved tremendously on those, typically as much as $20 a day. But another thing I love about those travel discount cards, if you don't travel, you could give it away to someone that does travel, and they can activate and create their own account, and they can take advantage of it. Because I've had many of my business partners give it away to their children that were taking trips, and were able to save them a few $100s just on a weekend. So that's another thing about that.
Now, wait a second. You're telling me somebody, like I'm sitting here, for those of you on YouTube and Facebook Live, here's what the card looks like. It's front, and on the back is how to log in and use the points and stuff. But what you're telling me is, let's say I didn't have any place to go in the near future and stuff. I could take and give this card to Matt, and Matt could use this card and go someplace?
That is correct.
Matt's our producer who's walking in the background there. So, that is amazing. Now, could they take the card and donate it to the ministry?
Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
And could the ministry then give it to anybody who's got a mission or a missionary?
100%.
Whoa! You've got to be kidding me.
And the cards are worldwide. Matter of fact, one of the amazing testimonies I had from one of my business partners, he and his wife went to Australia, the land down under, for a 2-week vacation. And just on rental car savings alone, they saved over $1,000 by utilizing the travel discount card, just on rental cars.
Wow. Well, I guess that was just one of the features in this this membership with 7K that, like I said, I was skeptical. I traveled all over the world. I thought I knew it all. But, yesterday when I got it down to an apples-to-apples comparison, I was still able to save $43, which, needless to say, I've said that several times. I apologize for being redundant, but it just blew me away because I just figured, this is a part of the program that, isn't going to benefit me, Tony Hammock, and yet it did. So, that, needless to say, you can tell I'm pretty excited about it and stuff. Is there anything else about the 7K Metals program, the 7K Getaway feature, or the fundraising that you'd like to cover before we let you go that I haven't asked about or we haven't brought up?
Well, no, I guess the only other thing I would share, and I think it's not covered enough, because it's considered a home-based business in 7K Metals, there's typically some amazing tax benefits. One of our, oftentimes when I go to different cities, we do the seminars. One of the gentlemen that travels with me is a 35-year CPA, and 90% of his clients are network marketers, people that have their own home-based business. And he said, on average, he's looking at $3,000 to $10,000 a year in your favor just from the tax benefits, even if they don't earn income. And so I always, I tell people I can't make any promises. I encourage you to get back with your tax professional. But on average, you're looking at $3,000 to $10,000 a year, even if they don't make income, and the fact that you're collecting silver on top of that. So, again, there's just no way a person can lose in that. And I've seen one of my business partners, from 1 year to the next, he was paying in $3,000 a year because he and his wife both worked. There was no children at home. And 1 year he paid in $3,000. The next year he got $3,000 back.
Wow.
So the $6,000 swing. And the only thing that was different is that he joined the company and bought a coin every single month. That was the only thing that was different from 1 year to the next.
Well, and the thing I like about you and your delivery of that is the fact that you make it really clear that, you or I or 7K is not in the practice of giving tax advice. If somebody, is interested in that feature, they need to consult their CPA or their enrolled agent and see if it pertains to them. I mean, I also know that you need to be making an effort to generate a profit to be able to, probably take some tax benefits and stuff. But what a neat additional thing that you're right, doesn't really come up quite a bit and stuff. But Tony, I know you're a busy man, and I sure appreciate you willing to get on here a second time. It's been much more pleasant this time without the gate agent in the background making all the announcements. We've actually been able to hear you and understand you and so forth. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm going to cut you loose. You have a wonderful day down there in Houston, and next time you travel, please be safe, and let's definitely stay in touch.
Appreciate it, man. And again, I appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye. And now, let's do this. Mr. Matt, I know, would love to do a little promotional announcement on Telethon. Okay, Matt, take it away.
I'm working on this. I'm doing this two-handed here.
Uh-oh. He's multitasking.
All right. So good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay over there, Tony?
I can.
All right. So today I want to talk to you guys about our up-and-coming first annual live stream telethon. This is something you want to catch it. This is the fall telethon live on Axe Media Group's Facebook page. Don't miss it. That's what this thing says. Facebook.com/Axe Media Group. If you're watching on Axe Media Group's Facebook page, just tune into the same place. It's going to be Monday, October 28th, Tuesday, October 29th. You can donate to your favorite show, be it the Morning Drive, the Happy Hour, Crosswalk of Hope, the new Gold Standard that is going on right now, Basics of Faith, Power Hour, or something to celebrate. You can donate to support veteran programs, autism awareness, kidney fund, and promote your business while supporting a worthy cause. Now, this is the first time we've ever done anything like this, so it's an adventure, to say the least. We're really excited about it, and what we want to do is we want to continue to be able to do the right thing, and it takes finances to be able to do that, to pay the rent, etc., etc. All of us here are volunteers. The money's not going into our pocket. It is going into the account for operational funding. So we want to continue to do this, and we want to, not just to do it, we want to continue to grow Axe Television Network so that we will further have the funding to continue to do the right thing. So help us to do the right thing, and in turn you'll be doing the right thing as well. So be sure and tune in. It starts at 8 a.m., ending at 8 p.m., Monday and Tuesday, both days, and it's going to be hour block at a time. And we're still looking for sponsors. We're still looking for people who want to donate. We have a number, 417-597-4821, if you want to be able to donate, or if you have any questions about maybe sponsoring a half hour or an hour, or if you just want us to do a 3-minute commercial for you. It's not too late. We still have some spots available, as I know, as of right now that I know of, and that could change. So if you're wanting a space, you could also email 4321axetreasurer@gmail.com, or you can go to axemediagroup.com, and there's a way to get in touch with us there as well to be able to contact us.
Hey, Matt, what was that number again, the phone number?
417-597-4821. And
Great.
that phone number will be active throughout the entire thing, and you'll be able to make calls and donates. We're also going to have, apparently going to have a talent contest, and the way you vote for people is by donating dollars in their name. A person who receives the most $1 votes will win by the end of the day on Tuesday. So that's going to be fun, another adventure within the adventure. So anyways, be sure and tune in then, starting at 8 a.m. Monday morning. Be there. Would love to see you. Back to you.
Great. Thanks, man. That's going to be a fun event. And I don't know if I want to do any talent to compete against Matt. If you haven't heard Matt sing or play the guitar or any of those kinds of things, I mean, I'm sure he has a edge on everybody. So.
Say that much. There's going to be some good talent.
Okay. Well, hey, real quick before I get into today's devotional on the stewardship program, I just want to make a little comment. You know, we spent the first 30 minutes talking to Tony Hubbard, who is with 7K Metals out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. And I just don't want anybody to think, A, that any of the opinions or views expressed are from Axe Media. They're all, so far, have been through me, Tony Hammock, or before Tony Hubbard. And I always tease him that, he's my brother from another mother, with us both having the name Tony and everything. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is that I also want to make the point that 7K Metals is just one of the programs that I am affiliated with, and what I'm finding is just much like my insurance practice. There's hundreds of insurance companies, and I'm appointed with a plethora. But the reason for that, and the reason for having a couple of gold programs, is they each fill a niche. And as you can tell on the 7K conversation with Tony, this one fills a nice niche for those that just kind of want to get started, build up some reserves, possibly get into a fundraising concept with C3 or their church that they go to, their ministry they're involved with and stuff. So I just don't want you to think this was a an infomercial for 7K Metals. It's just that happens to be the one he's with, and as you can tell, he's a very, very charismatic speaker. I would love to see him on stage because I've heard tapes and stuff, recordings of his presentations, and he is wonderful. Anyway, today's devotional. Now, this is part of the stewardship program, and I love the title. It's called Overrated. We read in Proverbs 23:4, and some of you may like this. It says, "Do not overwork to be rich. Because of your own understanding, cease." First, I want you to notice that this verse does not say don't work. And it does not say don't work hard. It says don't overwork. There are some people in God's family who are not led, they are driven. They are so focused on reaching their goals and achieving whatever level of success they are going after that they are making a lot of sacrifices along the way. But they are making the wrong sacrifices. They are sacrificing their marriage, and they are sacrificing their relationship with their kids. Why? Because they overwork, and friend, that is not healthy. In fact, I would say that overworking is as unhealthy as not working. You miss out on the grand things in life, the important things in life. With some people, even their relationship with God gets squeezed out because they overwork. You need to be motivated, you need to work hard, but you don't want to overdo it to the point that you don't have time for your children. You don't want to work so hard that you don't have time for your spouse. And you don't want to so overwork that you don't have time for your God. You are missing life if you are just after possessions, and you are sacrificing the more important things along the way. How does your work life measure up today? Are you overworking at the expense of your marriage, your family, and your relationship with God? If so, determine today to get your life back in balance. Overworking is overrated. And I know my wife, if she was here in the background, would probably be applauding, because I know I'm guilty from time to time of, working after hours or on a weekend, squeezing in something. Here recently, last weekend, for example, I spent a good portion of the weekend studying to take the AHIP, which is the test and certification that now allows me to offer Medicare Advantage programs. And if you remember, several shows ago, we had Brad Gibson here, or actually we had him on the phone, and one of his associates from back east. Veterans and other folks that are 65 or older, but that particular show we kind of focused on the veterans and stuff. Anyway, that Bible verse that the devotional spent time going over was Proverbs 23. Housekeeping things here. Let me find my phone and get to, let's go back to prices. Okay, now these prices today are as of 9:38 a.m. Central Standard Time. Gold today, now these are for ounces. Gold today is $1,496.10 an ounce at the moment. Silver is $17.66 an ounce. Platinum is $914. Palladium is $1,765. And rhodium is $53.90. And then by the pound, copper is $2.63, nickel is $7.50, aluminum is 78 cents, zinc is $1.14, lead's $1, and uranium is $24.60. Today, right now, crude oil is $54.55, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 43.57 at 9:38 Central Time. It's up 41.02 now at 9:39. It's 26,829.12. And there's other ones that I'll leave for another show, but basically those are the prices as of 9:38 and 9:39 respectively. And the neat thing about it is that this show really was intended to get into alternative assets, and there's a number of them. I mean, we've alluded to somewhere in the future we're going to do a show on Bitcoin. Bitcoin kind of gets a lot of attention in the press. Right now, Mark Zuckerberg is, in fact, I think today he is on the Hill doing some kind of a Q&A with Congress or a committee from Congress as far as this cryptocurrency that he is wanting to have Facebook offer somewhere, and the consortium that is behind that and stuff. So, maybe next week we'll spend a little time on Bitcoin and how this whole meeting on Libra has turned out and stuff, because, there's a lot of people that are really interested in the Bitcoin and some of the other cryptos like Ethereum and Litecoin, and, I mean, there's just all kinds of coins out there now, and each one seems to have, a niche or a purpose and stuff. For the moment, I'm kind of paying attention more to the ones that have the larger capitalization. I think the last time I looked, Bitcoin itself still has over 60%, maybe 65%, if not more, of the capitalization of the entire cryptocurrency market. So we'll get into that some point in the future. Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about as far as housekeeping is another one of the programs that I like to go to for information and so forth is one that has articles by several different journalists, and one of my favorites is a gentleman named Egon von Greyerz. I mean, that's quite a name, but Egon has some very, very interesting articles that he puts out, it looks like, on a weekly basis. And one that he recently put out is titled, "In an Illusory World, Gold is the Truth Teller." And if you can find it online, I would recommend it. He has a lot of information in here that's very, very good. If you can't find it, you're always welcome to email me or call me. My phone number is 417-755-0700. My email is tony@thegoldaffiliate.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link, or if you need the whole article, we can do that. But some of the things that he gets into as far as this goes is, the fact that since 1971, the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power. And remember, last week we started kind of getting into that a little bit. We were kind of talking a little bit about the fact that back in 1980, with back then silver was exactly $1. So you could have taken either an ounce of silver, or you could have taken $1 and you could have bought a gallon of milk. And that would have been, that was 1965. And here in 2019, y'all know, I mean, if you're buying milk, that $1 is not going to get you a gallon. I mean, that's far from paying for a gallon. Whereas if you had an ounce of silver today, and remember we just shared the price, I think it was $17.87, the spot price that is, you could get 5.1 gallons of milk. So just in that time frame from 65 to 2019, we've seen that much of a difference. Now, as far as a movie ticket, back in 65, $1 or 1 ounce of silver could have bought you a movie ticket. Today, you go into a movie house and try to buy a movie ticket for $1, and they're going to laugh at you. I know my wife and I and our 12-year-old went to a movie, I think it was Saturday night, and trust me, it was a lot more than $1 per person. And I don't want to tell you how much it was, but it was, I think the tickets were about $10 a piece. And, you know, getting back to the silver, in today's market, 1 ounce of silver would actually buy you almost 2 movie tickets. So that's how much that's gone up as far as that goes and stuff. The one I always like is the car. You know, we've talked about this a little bit before, but back in '65 was when Ford introduced the original pony car, the Ford Mustang. And back then it was $2,500. So you could have, in '65, taken 25 $1 bills or 25 ounces of silver, and you could have bought a brand new Ford Mustang. And probably would have been excited. I mean, that was, you know, quite the car there for a while. And to this day, people who still have '65 Ford Mustangs and have kept them in cherry condition, you know, they've got a nice little investment there and stuff. But if you took 2,500 $1 bills down to a dealership today and went to buy a new car, I think that you would be very disappointed. I can't think of a new car out there that you can get for $2,500. Whereas if you had 2,500 ounces of silver today, you could probably buy 2 cars. I mean, now granted, you're not going to be getting, you know, the top of the line with the leather and all that kind of stuff, but you could probably buy 2 Ford Mustangs, you know, the base unit with the 6-cylinder, that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's just a example of why it makes sense to have the gold and the silver as part of your portfolio, because they're the 2 items that will keep up with inflation. I mean, it's just really a nice addition here. And as far as real estate, you know, here again we'll focus on 1965 that is. If you'd have had $10,000, you could have probably bought a nice, you know, 3-bedroom ranch house back then. And, you know, if you had $10,000 back in 1965, you could have bought 281 ounces of gold. It was $35.50 back then. So you could either had a house for 10 grand, or you could have had 281 ounces of gold back in 1965. And today, that house, this is based on housing inflation rate, that house would be worth $85,803. It's not bad. I mean, you know, think about it. That's an 8-fold increase, especially if you've lived there and you've taken care of it. You know, you probably got a great landscape going on and all kinds of things you've done with it and so forth. But on the other hand, if you still had those 281 ounces of gold, and this is priced at $15.01 an ounce as of August 7th, you'd have $421,781. So not a bad return over that time frame. Just a way to, you know, kind of make it very, very clear that it might make sense to have some gold and silver tucked away to where, if need be, you could get to it. And you'd probably want to make sure you had it, you know, in your possession if possible. If you had a safe at home, that'd probably be the way to do it. You know, we're trying to tell people, you know, you might not want to keep it in the lockbox at the bank, because if anything ever happened to that bank, let's say they had to, you know, close their doors or, you know, whatever it may be, the way the fine print on those agreements now read is they would have basically, you know, access to everything in those lock boxes, and they even now have a 30-day look back. So, for example, you know, I mean, think about that for a second. If you thought, oh, this bank's getting ready to go under, I'm going to go clear out my lockbox, and let's say you had, you know, 100 ounces of silver in there, and you took it out, and the bank did close their doors and so forth, they could probably, in today's world, come back and say, hey, you know, we're doing the look back. You need to return that silver to the lockbox, and then wait to see what happens with the dissolution of that bank. So it's just one of those things where we're trying to encourage people. If you've got gold and silver outside of an IRA, you know, possession is 9/10 of the law, as they say. It'd probably be nice to have it. And if you don't have a nice safe, there again, give me a call. I've got a few people I work with that have wall safes and gun safes and, all kinds of different things that you can have installed in your house. Some are very, very easy to disguise, and so forth. And, once again, my phone number is 417-755-0700. That would be one way to do it. Now, in some of our shows, we've talked about having gold and silver inside of an IRA. And usually when you have your gold and silver inside of an IRA, you cannot take possession of it. But when you start to take money out of the IRA, they will send you your gold bars or gold coins or silver coins, and you will get them then. Or if you get to be 70 and a half and have to start taking required minimum distributions, if you so choose, you can take those RMDs, they call them, in gold and silver based on what you've got in your account. So you do get access to them eventually, and that's one of the nice things about having the IRA, excuse me, or any other defined contribution plan set up to handle gold and silver, physical gold and silver. I'm not talking about an ETF or some kind of a gold certificate or something. For those of you that remember Ryan Long a couple of weeks ago with National Gold Consultants, he was in town back on October 10th, and he did a great example. I mean, I really loved it. I mean, hopefully I can try and repeat it here for us, because I just thought it was neat. Because a lot of people, if you go to your financial advisor, they're going to say, oh, well, we've got gold, we're going to put some in an ETF. Or we've got gold in the annuity, we're going to take and move it into the gold option. And, they're giving you options on ways to have gold in your portfolio. Or you can have a gold mutual fund, a mutual fund that, invests in mining companies and stuff. Well, the analogy that Ryan used was, let's say you and your wife were getting ready to, or your wife and your husband, whatever the such scenario is, you and your family were getting ready to go on a cruise. And the name of the vessel was the Titanic. And you're walking up the boarding plank there, and you get up to the top, and the concierge and everybody greets you, and they're like, okay, you get this life preserver, and they put it on you, and that would be like having gold. And so each member of your family could have a life preserver on them as they board the ship, knowing that the name of the ship is the Titanic. Or you could get a paper certificate which entitles you to an ounce of gold, or in this case, a life preserver. And I just thought that was real interesting, because which one would you choose? I mean, you know it's the Titanic, you know what's going to happen. So I don't know. I mean, I think my family and we're going to choose to have the life preservers around our necks as compared to a paper certificate, because when that Titanic hits the iceberg, I don't know who I'm going to run to. The captain seemed to have his hands full in the movie, so he's probably not going to be a good one to go to, and everybody else seemed kind of busy as the thing was going down. So I think I'll stick with the possession of the gold and the silver, or in that example, the life preserver. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. I mean, I really enjoy getting a chance to do this show. I always like to thank Jim Whining and Pam Whining for giving me the opportunity, and Dr. Paul, and Acts Ministry and so forth. I know that Matt and I have both said a couple times about this telethon. If you could make it, it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday the 28th, and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday the 29th. And there's still some spots available for sponsors, but there are a bunch of folks that are already on the schedule for their time slots that are going to be well worth the time to tune in. How much time we got, Matt? We're out of time. Thank you very much for your attention and watching today. Hopefully Tony Hubbard's part of the show was well worth it. And, we just really are looking forward to the telethon. And thank you, Springfield. Thank you, Axe Media viewing group. And we're looking forward to next week in the telethon. And then we'll have our show next Wednesday. I guess that'll be the 30th. Thank you so much. Have a safe week.